Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Chris has gone back to the days of his youth.
Stop. That's not yet. Hold off. Firstly, those Egyptian vultures. What a couple of birds. Fantastic things. We like Egyptian vultures.
Oh, we love
much.
Egyptian vultures. We've been keeping an eye on that nest over the course of the SIBC broadcast.
Yep.
And I've been loving watching them grow. I love Egyptian vultures. They've got the most beautiful yellow bill, haven't they?
As an adult.
As an adult, and that white plumage. But of course, what you can see there is a chick. And if you look really carefully at the back of that cave, there is a second youngster there too. We just got a quick view of its bottom a minute ago, so maybe it'll. Oh, there we are. I think that's its bill there. You can see poking around.
That's it. They lay 2 eggs, and they're typically cliff nesting, or in this case, a cave nesting bird. These are in Bulgaria. You can find these online. They've been there a long time. Vultures in the nest are very, very slow to mature. So as Meg said, we've been looking at these now for at least 2 months.
We have been. And as Fabian just said before we went live, we're struggling to find live cameras now to show you because all the birds, the breeding season's ended. Everything's fledged. Everything's gone. So we're holding on with these vultures at the end of this season.
Well, last week we were watching those black storks, and they sort of hopped off the nest during the course of our little broadcast. So these vultures, I like. Oh, there it is. That the second youngster's just wandered into view. And of course, Egyptian vultures are famed for coming from Egypt, and they appear in many of the tombs. So they were one of those sacred animals, like so many other things that were venerated at that time. And you can walk into the tombs. I've done it myself. I think Abu Simbel is one of the places. I'll have to cast my memory back for that. And as you walk into the tomb, there's a vulture soaring, painted on the roof in beautiful and very accurate detail as well. And the other thing that they're famed for, of course, is their egg-breaking material. They're a tool user. So the adult birds, once they've learned to do it, will pick up a stone and typically use it to smash birds' eggs that they find. The most challenging trial that they face is when they find an ostrich egg, which is very thick shells, of course.
Very thick.
And as a consequence, they need to pick up quite large stones. But they manage it. They manage it. So, yeah, Egyptian vultures. Anyway, as Megan said, I've gone back to my youth. If just one person says something about Prince Charming on social media, I'm going to block you forever.
Flood it.
There's a very good reason for our ostentatious makeup. We'll come to that in a moment. But also coming up today, we have Luke Massey, Last Song of the Nightingale, a beautiful film that he's made that you'll be able to see clips of here this morning and watch the whole lot of next weekend on the virtual bird fair.
We've got Indy Greene, who went to the Hawk Conservancy to have a little look around, see what they're up to, and to talk a little bit about Goshawk. And of course, with that, we're going to be giving you a Goshawk update too.
Our Goshawk is still there at the National Bird of Prey Hospital, so Indy's doing that update, like you say. What else have we got? Oh, we went to the British Wildlife Centre.
We did.
Fantastic place, now open. Strongly recommend a visit there, especially if you're a photographer. So we're going to be meeting up with David Mills, who runs the British Wildlife Centre. Meg's fed a couple of deer.
Fed a few deer and a fox.
Tried to photograph some otters. They were a bit slippery, to say the least.
They were a bit
tricky.
Show
you some of the photos we got there. You do get fantastic photographic opportunities at the British Wildlife Centre, which is near Lingfield in Surrey, open now to the public. Well worth a visit. More of that. And then, of course, we're joined by Lindsey Chapman, who's going to be showing us all of your photos and clips. We've got some interesting things this morning. Inverts, good inverts.
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
Now, so normally we get a stream of social media comments from you all. Now, Kate, who is our kind of social media manager, guru extraordinaire, who normally monitors all of those feeds, she's away for the weekend.
She's actually gone on holiday. Ridiculous.
Well, no, she's not gone on holiday. She's gone on dog sit, isn't she? She's not gone on airplane.
And she isn't on holiday actually, because she's still there.
She's still sending me messages about social media.
She got a signal.
She sent us this photo of her yesterday in amongst this tree. Look at this.
I know.
What a tree.
I know. It's like a giant anemone.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's like Alice in Wonderland.
I'm not familiar with the trees in Alice in Wonderland. I'm familiar with the whole.
It's like that kind of magical. You enter this new world.
It's a fairy tale tree.
Yes, it's a fairy tale tree.
It is.
And Kate's a little fairy.
Except that it's not really a tree, is it? It's a rhododendron.
Yes.
It must be an ancient rhododendron.
It is.
And of course, rhododendron's not always popular. They are when they're in this form because they're a natural architectural wonder, but they can be an invasive species, cause a lot of controversy. In fact, the rhododendron. Anyway, let's not get on the soapbox straight away. But Kate is actually we wondered whether she was going to be able to get any signal and partake in our broadcast this morning, but clearly she has.
She definitely has.
Thanks, Kate, for giving up some of your weekend away to help us. Yeah, we're always grateful. Right. Anyway, why have I got a bandit mask, and why have you got ostentatious red eye makeup on? Not quite as.
Why have we?
Not quite as sort of.
Mine's more subtle.
Yeah.
It's gentle referencing,
as
you put.
Well, mine is more sort of anatomically accurate for the bird that I'm trying to represent. So in the few seconds before we introduce our fantastic guest, see if you can guess. So look, grey cap, okay, bandit mask, t-shirt inside out in order to have a cream chest, and then a russet back, a very distinctive russet back. A big clue there. Yeah, right, Megs, go on, over to you.
So look, I'm going to get you close so you can look at my makeup. Look, it's quite red. I needed a petrol green item to wear on my belly. The only thing that I had of that colour was a swimming costume, so I'm really sorry. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to put this puffer on.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to
Well, you're going to display?
Yeah, I'm going to display. There's my petrol green, right? I'm going to go...
Hold on, I'll tip it up so everyone can see it. Yeah, go on and see.
I'm going to hold it up.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Yes. That's me if you think you know what we are.
Okay. Right. The reason why we've attempted the makeup and clothing today is to emulate our guest this morning, Paul Harfleet. Now, we introduced Paul to you last week. You would have known him if you follow us on the South Isolating Bird Club, because he's been posting his remarkable drawings and his subtle referencing of the birds, which he is absolutely brilliant at.
Incredible.
Yeah, well, this is our first attempt. We haven't mastered it. Anyway, Paul is going to join us now from East London. Good morning, Paul.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. How are you? It's amazing to see you dressed up.
What do you think? Did we do all right?
Come on, points out of 10.
Your first attempt, you've done very, very well.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Okay. Well, Paul, has anyone been guessing what we are? Has anyone come through with anything like that?
Nothing's come through yet.
Okay, well, Paul, what do you think then? What do you think? So look, grey cap, bandit mask, red back.
I wanted to say nuthatch, but they don't have a red back. I'm not completely sure, but I very much like this black strip. I'm going to be doing that soon with another bird, but I might be blending it slightly more than you have. It looks like you've just got a black marker and put it over your eyes. What happened?
Late last night, we found some face paint that we'd bought from many years ago.
Well, we did. We were meant to go out yesterday, but we were busy writing instead, so we didn't go out. And I had planned, because I love my makeup. I wear it as much as I can. Absolutely enjoy being creative with it. But I'm really bad with colour. I'm awful. I just always go for black or browns or neutral tones. So I had no kind of brightly coloured. I needed red, and we needed you to get like some kind of black stuff. So we went for the face paint option, which was
a great option.
Okay.
It was good.
What's happening? Is anyone getting it?
Oh yes, we have someone that got yours right.
Okay, who's that?
We've got Neil Gardner.
Neil Gardner, well done, Neil. I am, of course, the red-backed shrike. The red-backed shrike was my favourite bird in my youth. That small passerine that's extraordinarily predatory, and also famed, of course, as being called the butcher bird. And it impales some of its prey on fences, which it uses as a larder to keep the food for later. Now, obviously, post-war, they went into a decline in the UK. Very sadly, they disappeared here in the New Forest in the 1980s when wretched egg collectors stole the remaining clutches of their eggs. And then when I graduated from university, I would go to Breckland, Brandon, a place called Santon Downham, every summer for a few summers to look after the very last breeding pairs with a remarkable ornithologist called Ron Hoblin. And he and I tried to warden these birds. Egg collectors did come and try and steal their eggs. We did prevent them from doing that, but very sadly we lost the species as a regular breeding bird. But look at it, what a stunner.
It is good, isn't
come
it?
on. Come on. Now, that wasn't, Paul, that wasn't a bad first attempt.
Not at all. No, it was really good. I think it's such a strange thing to do. I don't know how it happened really, but it's what I've been doing over the last few months.
Excellent stuff. We've got some of your far more accomplished representations of birds, which we can take a look at now. Let's have a look at your firecrest. But we ought to point out, of course, that the drawings on the left are the drawings that you've been doing to accompany them as well. How long has it taken you to do those drawings?
So they take about 4 or 5 hours, depending on the size of the bird, because I'm always using a same piece of paper. So I kind of, if they're really big birds, I have to kind of reduce them in terms of pen. So that they become a bit more complicated, but it's about 4 or 5 hours. But initially this started as a way of promoting the drawings to sell. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could slightly reference the birds I was drawing in the makeup and clothing? It's just become a weird thing that I'm obsessed with. I am a kingfisher, by the way. I'm a kingfisher.
Oh, yes.
Kingfisher. Yes, look at that bright orange chest.
Great.
Resplendent blue.
We're always amazed that you have the perfect clothing to go for every bird. It's brilliant.
Yeah, where do you get your clothes from? Because you've either got an extraordinarily, diverse and colourful wardrobe, or you're down the charity shop every other day. Well, how do you get the clothes?
I just have always loved clothes. So I've always loved colour and clothes, and I just seem to have a wide range of knitwear and things that just happen to go with the birds I've drawn. It is quite bonkers. I have bought a couple of things because I was lacking green, but yeah, I don't know. It's a strange thing. I have got a big wardrobe. People have been saying, how many clothes have you got? But you haven't even seen half of the clothes I've got.
Lots more.
So the rest of the UK's bird fauna is lurking in your wardrobe.
Yeah.
And of course, you very, very kindly did a drawing of a hen harrier to raise funds for hen harrier conservation. We had our hen harrier day.
Here's the actual print, and it's being auctioned off in aid of Hen Harrier Day. There's currently 2 bids at £500. So it needs to be, one of them has to go up.
Yes. And when's it closing?
Monday at 1 o'clock.
Okay. Right, so if either of those people are watching, and if they're not, their friends might be, you need to tell them that extraordinarily generous, £500.
Oh, you're
fantastic.
welcome.
But you up to 600 to beat your other bidder. And then, of course, if both do the same, you need to take it up to 700. I mean, I'm campaigning here for very large sums of money, but that's fantastic, Paul. Thank you so much for doing it. It's very generous of you to do that. Now, when we started looking at your work on SIBC, we sort of checked you out, as everyone does these days. Yes. We Google everyone, as soon as you find someone, you Google them. And we found the other project that you've been involved with, the Pansy project. Tell us a bit about that, because we're both massive fans of this. It's just such a good idea.
Thank you. Well, I started the Pansy project in 2005, and it happened when I experienced 3 separate incidences of homophobia in one day in Manchester. And I was an artist at that time, so I was thinking about how I could respond to this incident. And I wanted to kind of raise awareness of the issue, because people were really shocked that I was shouted at in the street at all, let alone 3 times in one day. So I started thinking about roadside memorials and floral memorials and how to kind of change the way I read the street when I went past. I wanted to alter how I remembered those locations. So I started basically planting pansies at the site of homophobia, taking a photograph, naming it after the abuse, and posting it on my website, thepansyproject.com.
But it has grown massively, hasn't it? It's now international. There's pansies coming around Hong Kong, obviously throughout the UK, but it's getting really, really big.
Yeah, last year I was in New York, and a couple of years ago I was in Canada, and I've been to Washington DC. I planted one outside the White House. It's been amazing to get the support I've got. So it has been incredible, and I've sort of done various things to promote it. And I wrote a book, which is why I wrote a book called Pansy Boy Promotion. And it's about a boy who experiences homophobia at school. The boy loves birds, and he starts thinking about how he can change the locations at school. So for the book, I drew loads of birds, because I've always loved birds. It's basically about me. So that's how this kind of has evolved into what I'm doing now.
What I like most about it is that will make us angry. and we feel that we have to make a positive response to those. But to do it in a creative and imaginative way, sometimes is far better than just standing up and shouting and screaming. And this is relatively subtle, but incredibly powerful and poignant at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of, what is strange is that when I first planted them, it did feel like a sort of balm over the location. It felt mournful and sad that this had happened to me. But then as I planted them for other people and for their experiences, it affects those people too. And then as more severe hate crime, of course, happens all the time, I planted them where people have been beaten to death because of homophobia. So it is a way of raising awareness, and all of the images kind of they kind of place the pansy in its location, and it just sort of tells this anecdotal story of homophobia and hate crime. And my response to it is intended to be a sort of a delicate, subtle, beautiful thing.
And you've certainly done that. It's absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant.
And also, I think inspirational in terms of how it might influence other people who want to address not just hate crime of any kind, but any form of affront that they face in their lives. Sometimes, it's best not to get mad. It's best to get even. And if you can do that in a way which is, as you say, beautiful, then that stops people in their tracks, and I think, and makes them think. It's been brilliant chatting to you. Anyway, look, before we go, has anyone got you? Has anyone got you? Have a quick look. Has anyone?
Bethan and Oliver has, and Ruth.
Excellent.
So, any ideas, Paul?
Well, you have to give us another display.
Oh, another display.
So this bird is famed for its displays.
So, you've got to notice the petrol green
Hold
here.
on. Yeah.
And
Are you a bower bird?
No, I'm not. I'm quite big.
Hence the puffer jacket.
I'm quite big.
Cormorant, the shag.
I'm bigger. I'm rounder. I'm quite rare.
Yeah.
In parts of Scotland.
Huh?
In parts of Scotland.
Oh, a ptarmigan.
Not quite. I'm a capercaillie.
Oh, capercaillie. That is. I wanted to do one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're amazing. They're so big.
You should. You do it so much better than I could. Oh, I thought they were quite different, and I just love capercaillie. I've never seen one in the wild. I've always wanted to really, to go up and have the opportunity to go and see them, particularly, of course, when they're lekking, when that male has that group of females. It's just incredible.
Yeah, brilliant birds. Anyway, look, we did our best. At least some of our viewers managed to get what we were up to. Paul, it's been brilliant talking to you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you again for the hen carrier. Remember, if you're bidding, you've got to go up from 500, which would be fantastic. That's an extremely generous sum of money.
The website where you can find it is www.thepansyproject.com/bid. So make sure you head there.
And whilst you're on the site, check out the project as well, the rest of the project that we've been talking about. Anyway, before you go, Paul, you're going to do the quiz for us today.
Oh, yeah. So I have gently referenced a bird, and an image should be popping up. And you can try and guess which bird I'm channeling.
Oh, it's a great one, isn't it? I love that, the intensity in your eyes there.
Actually, I really like your coat.
Yeah, I love the coat.
I've got a white raincoat like that.
They're amazing.
Yeah, I've got a white raincoat. It always reminds me of, Peppard, George Peppard in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and he was wearing a white rain mac in a few of the scenes in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I always thought he looked particularly handsome in those scenes. So I've tried to do the same with my white raincoat, but that's really spectacular. Fantastic. Okay, well, people can see what you're gently try and see if they can know what you're gently referencing. Paul, thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Stay well.
It's lovely to meet you. Thanks so much.
You too. No, thank
Cheers.
you. We'll
Bye.
speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
people got what we were up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Maybe I can lose the baseball cap now.
No, I think you've got to keep it on.
Okay.
Otherwise you're losing the effect.
Okay, if you've been watching over the last couple of weeks, you'll know that extraordinarily we had a goshawk fly into the window of our home here in the New Forest. And it was a young bird. It was fairly emaciated, and it had some previous injuries not caused by it flying into the window, which caused an enormous clatter. We rushed it to the National Bird of Prey Hospital within a few hours. It's a centre of excellence at the Conservancy Trust near Weyhill in Hampshire. also open for business, so do try and pop along this weekend if you've got some time. British Wildlife Centre, Hawk Conservancy. We could do one on Saturday, one on Sunday.
Oh, that would be a treat.
A weekend of wildlife and fantastic photographic opportunities. And we're getting back to the Goshawk. It's been being cared for there by the staff, Cedric and Gary, and also their vet, John Chitty, a man with renowned expertise when it comes to treating raptors. But our friend Indy Greene decided to visit the Hawk Conservancy this week, so we asked him if he'd look in on the Goshawk and give us an update to see how it's getting on. Here's Indy.
I've got, and my Goshawks are really, really close to my heart. I've got a pair that nest relatively close to my house, and I actually saw one this morning, to be honest. And I've got a pair that often circles around catching stock doves and jackdaws over the fields in front of me, so they're absolutely super birds. And in the wild, what do they really eat in the wild?
They're quite versatile, so which means for us it's quite easy. We can feed them. They don't mind what they eat most of the time. Something quite big in theory, and it can be either rodents or game birds. And so we are quite lucky. We, due to the fact the bird is in a big aviary, it's got space, and it's got also a nice quality food, so it's quite easy to feed them.
So what should people do if they find a raptor particularly that's either crashed into a window or that's injured?
It's quite difficult, but I will say to people to please feel free to give us a phone call. We will be able to, at least to help them. Just a phone call. Sometimes people have no idea what to do, and we can advise them, and either to take the bird to their vet, to a local vet, or if they're not very far from us, they can bring the bird to us, or they can go to our local vet.
Young Indy there, in his element.
Always in his element, isn't he?
Well,
He's always out and about.
Very clean young raptor file, isn't he?
Yes.
We do have a further update about the Goshawk, and not quite such good news, not bad news by any means, but here's what Gary sent me late last night. Hi Chris, not great news with the Goshawk, I'm afraid. The fracture on his toe has become problematic since being outside and using it more. It's now in an outside aviary, flying around to make sure that his wing muscles are up to strength. We were thinking, of course, last week that we might be releasing it this week. John Chitty, the vet, has assessed it today, and it looks like he may have to amputate part of the toe. So it's definitely going to need a longer road now, which is disappointing. It's a tricky fracture by all accounts, but the vet, John, again, seems optimistic for a successful outcome. So he'll have to go through his recuperation, and then we can plan for best practice later on. So this is in no way imperiling the Goshawk's life. It's just prolonging its stay in the hospital there. But our mission, and of course the Hawk Conservancy mission, is to get this bird back into the wild down here as quickly as we possibly can.
Yeah.
But can't do that if it's not fit. If it's got a dodgy toe, it's not going to be able to catch its food. Maybe that's what the problem was in the first place.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, what's it doing in our garden, chasing something like a blackbird? It should be out there in the woods.
Yeah, it's not
bringing down wood pigeons
space.
And squirrels and things.
So,
yeah. Anyway,
quite unusual.
Yeah.
Anyway, now of course the last couple of weeks we've been talking about we've been talking about hen harriers for quite some time, and we're kind of going along a similar route, aren't we, for this week's Soapbox. Now, raptor persecution is rife throughout the UK, and unfortunately it seems like there is just constant stream of stories and bad news stories that we are all told about the disappearance of our raptors. And this week you put out a film, haven't you?
Yeah.
About Tom, the golden eagle.
One of the satellite tagged eagles that we were working with has been tagged for a science project in Scotland. Disappeared under suspicious circumstances back in May. And we made a short film about this. We'd made a promise that every single one of these eagles we would report upon when it disappeared. And here's a clip from that film now.
A few years ago, I made a serious promise to you, and that was to visit the very precise location that any one of our satellite-tagged golden eagles were to disappear in under suspicious circumstances. And you may remember that I previously reported to you about Fred, about Adam, and about Charlie. Well, I'm afraid that another eagle has disappeared, but under the circumstances of COVID-19, I've chosen not to visit Scotland, but to bring you this report from my home here in the New Forest. Let me introduce you to Tom. Look at him. What an absolute stunner. What a beautiful little bird. There's something absolutely magical about golden eagles, and especially when they're young. Tom was hatched last year at an eyrie in Argyllshire, and he was fitted with a satellite tag, and those satellite tags are remarkable pieces of technology. They give us enormous amounts of data, and I can show you a map here which has all of the data that we collected whilst Tom was alive. Now you can see this cluster here. This is his natal territory. That's where he grew up, and that's why it's very dense here. And then when he matured a bit, just like young golden eagles do, he started to wander. He went on a journey out here to the west, and then unfortunately he made this journey out here eastwards, and that small yellow dot you can see there is where his tag failed catastrophically in May of this year. And I've got another map here which shows us the points that we recovered from that satellite tag that were transmitted whilst it was working during the last 2 days of his life. And you can see him moving around this landscape, and look at the landscape. There's lots of patches here. Well, these are patches of burned moorland, because this is driven grouse land, and these are the burned patches that are so typical of that landscape. During the last night of his life, he was roosting on a cliff here. Fantastic place for a young male golden eagle to be roosting, of course. But then he woke up in the morning of May the 18th. He moved a very short distance, and then that very expensive piece of very reliable technology catastrophically failed. It just stopped working suddenly.
Another tragic tale of another golden eagle disappearing under suspicious circumstances on or close to a driven grouse moor, this time in Scotland. We've also asked for comment from Nicola Sturgeon, First Minister, and Rosanna Cunningham on the Scottish Government. They have responded yesterday, and you can see those responses online. I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of us are disappointed with their comment, because basically we want action now, and in a way, although they have explained what they're trying or going to do, it's not happening now. The consultation that there is around whether driven grouse moors should be licensed is out there, and the people being consulted, or some of them at least, are the people who run driven grouse moors. So you might see that they have a vested interest in not having restrictions or regulation put in place. I think this, it's tragic that we're losing these birds of prey. I think it's also tragic that there are lots of sustainable, legal shooters out there who do good work for conservation, great work for conservation, and their reputation is being consistently damaged by a tiny minority of people who are doing enormous damage to our raptor populations. Now, last Saturday, Megs and I were pleased to take part in Hen Harrier Day, organised by Hen Harrier Action this year. We had people from the RSPB, people from Wild Justice, we had lots of poetry,
people,
art,
music, we had the whole lot.
Enormously well-supported event. What stuck in my mind was a comment that was made by Goshawk, who is an RSPB investigator, has been working in the field for a long time, enormous experience, and what he pointed out so pertinently is that it could be just 100 people in the UK which are killing these eagles and goshawks and hen harriers and so forth, and most of them seem to be on driven grouse moors. So what we've got here is a terrible situation where our birds are being harmed, but also, unfortunately, constant conflict between the shooting fraternity and conservationists, because we're fed up with this.
Yeah.
Absolutely fed up with these birds being killed. We just wish that the shooting fraternity would sort the driven grouse shooting fraternity out, because, it is dragging their reputation into the dirt.
Yeah, I find it absolutely bizarre. Obviously, this last week we've been talking about it a lot, so you and I have been getting a bit of flack for that. And it's, why not? It's, we've all got a common interest. Most, when I speak to shooters, they don't like raptor persecution either. Yet they'll come and, bicker with me about whatever statistics they want to try and bicker about. But why not, if you are against it, why don't we join up? Why don't we have a conversation and have a collective effort to stop this from happening?
Okay, well, I've got some breaking news.
Why does it have to be?
I've got some breaking news, actually. I've had an invitation from a Scottish grouse moor owner to go to the grouse moor and spend some time there and look at what they do, and I've accepted that invitation. I think this is a time when we do need to start talking. I mean, I've checked out the grouse moor. There's nothing illegal happening there. So, you know, I will be visiting that moor to meet with the owner, and if we are able to champion the good work that's being done in that particular place. So I think it's important that we try to build those bridges between, as I said, the sustainable legal shooters, but you know, it's so difficult when you've got this rogue minority that are doing so much damage.
We're on the same team. We've got the same common interest.
Anyway,
come on, people, be nice to one another. Let's sort this out together.
But we need to sort it out as well.
We do,
because self-regulation clearly isn't working. So on that account, we'd like you to do something for us this morning, which may make a difference, and it's certainly better than doing nothing.
It is. So on Hen Harrier Day, we launched an e-petition, an e-action, which you can do to get involved and help bring awareness and hopefully change to our raptors. Now, all you need to do, it's really straightforward, really easy, is all you need to do is go to www.wildjustice.org.uk/SOS. And in the top right hand corner, you'll see a little button about take action. You click on it, you put in your postcode, and there is a fully drafted email there that will be sent off to your MP, your SMP, wherever you live, be sent off to your representation in Parliament. And you'll get a response. And many of us have got responses. Some have been really good. I've seen some responses that have come back and said, yes, we're really passionate about this issue too. And we've contacted the Environmental Secretary. I've had others come back. My MP, for example, came back in support of it, which he got a strongly worded email back, I have to say. But please do this. And so far, I have to say, it's doing really well.
Yeah.
As of this morning, we've got 39,108 emails all sent off to Parliament. Now, I'm always optimistic, so I'm going to say, can we get it up to 40,000 by the end of this broadcast? Are there 900 people that haven't done it yet that are watching?
Yeah, and if you have done it and you're watching, why not in the next 20-30 minutes ask your friends and family if they would do it too. It's a peaceful, democratic way of just highlighting to our elected representatives that we're really fed up with this issue. We want some action. And there is other news this week of a positive kind, and that is that the Labour Party have said that should they have the ability, they would license driven grouse shooting. And so that would mean that there will be a method of, again, finding out what was going on these driven grouse shooting estates. And if they transgressed any of the rules of the licence, perhaps they would have that licence removed. And that would be a significant threat to their business, of course. And it might stop them pulling the triggers, laying the poison or setting the traps for these birds. So top work from the Labour Party by making that move this week.
It's a big move. We've got comments coming in from the audience as well in agreement. So Julia Wright, yes, build bridges. Even if you don't agree with them, some will understand the raptor's beauty and the genuine threat to their survival. Exactly. We need to start building these bridges and work cohesively together.
As soon as we finish the book and we can fix a date, I'm going to go and meet the proprietor of this grouse moor. I'm going to write it up and I'm going to send it to the shooting fraternity, and I'm going to send it to the conservation fraternity too. You know what I'm like, I'm going to tell the truth. So that's the case. But there are good people out there, and we need to work. We need to work with them.
Yes.
Anyway, listen, sign the petition. Come on, sign it.
40,000
by the end of this broadcast. Can you imagine? That would be really sensational.
Is that an extra W? I'm not sure. wildjustice.org.uk/SOS. Now, on to something a little bit more positive.
Yeah. Okay.
So a couple of weeks ago, Chris and I went to the British Wildlife Centre. We had a great time, didn't we? We loved going there.
I love going there.
It's a place where you get to see the very best of British wildlife. They've got wildcats, they've got pine martens, they've got all kinds of birds, they've got red squirrels, they've got all different types of deer. And we went to meet up with David Mills to tell us a little bit about what it's like there at the moment and what you can do when you visit. David, when I was a little girl, I can remember being on that platform over there and looking out at all these deer here. And I must have been really tiny then. So to come back and see it all now, they're doing great.
They are. Well, I've lived here for 50 years and I was at my dairy farm, and I sold my cows 25 years ago and turned it into this. So when you were a little girl and you were on that platform, yes, that was at the very beginning, but now we're 25 years down the road and it's matured. So, and as you can see from all the deer here, everybody's growing.
So how many kind of deer do you have here? Are they all in this enclosure? How old are they?
We've got 6 species in this country, of which we've got 4. The 2 native species, the roe and the red. The reds are over the back here, and there's some roe just over there. And the rest, the fallow deer, of course, are alien, because they came over with William the Conqueror. Some people thought the Romans had them here as well. And then, of course, there's the Chinese water deer and the muntjac and the sika deer, all sort of deer that have been brought in the last 100 years.
When people come to the centre and they're able to come and look around, what kind of tours can they do? I heard you do some amazing photography things.
Well, what we do, we usually, I say usually because it's not normal times, but usually we open every weekend throughout the year and all school holidays, but because everybody's on holiday at the moment, so we're open now all the time, or going to be. So during term time, in normal conditions, we do schools, photographic groups and private tours. The photographic groups are individual days, so 12 maximum people, and you go in the enclosures with the animals and you get the opportunity to get the best possible shots. And they're designated, and you're the only people here on those days. So if you want a photographic day, it's about £120 per person, but you're here all day, keep a lead, and you're taken into the enclosures with the animals, and I can guarantee you get the shots that you want.
Fantastic place.
Oh, it's beautiful. And you can't get better photographs of British wildlife than you can there, because you can get so up close to everything there. The otters, they're so close, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
At your wellies. Nibbling your wellies. They do when you've got fish in your hand anyway.
They certainly do. Yeah, it's a great place for photography, and those photography days that David does there are worth absolutely every penny. Look, here's some of the pictures that Megs and I got whilst we were there. We weren't trying our hardest, to be quite honest with you, but they give you a sense of what the sorts of things you can get. So you're very close to the animals. The animals aren't worried by you at all. There's no sign of the enclosure, obviously, because you're inside that enclosure. We should add as well, because you can't see from the pictures, that the enclosures are extraordinarily large. The otters, a lovely river running down through their enclosures. Many of the animals there started off as rescue animals.
Yes.
So the foxes, obviously, there's always a surfeit of fox cubs that come in. Otters too. Some of them they're breeding there as well. So they have a captive red squirrel breeding program, which they've used for reintroduction in other sites as well. And the other thing that was really going great guns when we were there was the weasel. Now, where can you, if you wanted to go out today and see a weasel in the wild, good luck to you. I mean, you just happen across these animals, and you're very fortunate when it happens. But they've got a weasel at the British Wildlife Centre, which basically is a mate, isn't it?
It is a mate. We're good friends, me and the weasel. We've made good friends.
Fantastic stuff.
But make sure you do go, if you can, at the British Wildlife Centre. It's a brilliant day out, and if you can go and do one of those photography tours, definitely do that, because you'll get some cracking photos.
Yeah, and bear in mind, of course, that you do have to, like so many places at the moment, you have to book in advance, and you can do that. Well, guess what the website is? It's britishwildlifecentre.co.uk. So, and you can follow them at BWC Tweets on Twitter. BWC Tweets on Twitter, British Wildlife Centre. We're going to have more from the British Wildlife Centre next week coming up. So that'll be good. But now, let's ask Lindsey Chapman if she is alive and well, and emulating Paul Harfleet by doing her own bird. Doesn't look like it, Lindsey.
How dare you? Good morning, Chris, Megs. Hello, everyone at home. I'm alive. I'm well. Yes, I have had a go. I'll get close to the camera.
That's subtle.
It is subtle.
It is a subtle bird, Chris. Come on, think about the t-shirt colour, the sort of grey, blue. You've got the black line across the eye there. Any ideas?
You've got a bit of a bronze shimmer above there as well, haven't you?
Well noticed. Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's not reveal our thoughts at the moment. Let's see if any of our viewers can see and guess what you are as well. Okay. UK species.
It is a UK species. You can get it in your garden. So I've gone small bird, common bird, up and down. I'm going to say that as a clue.
Okay.
Good
clue. Good clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Many people really enjoying Paul this morning. Jane Edwards said it's great to see his work, great to see him live. She really enjoys looking at his pictures on the Facebook site. And Ruth Penn says, Chris, what is going on with your T-shirt? She obviously wasn't here right at the beginning. Why are you wearing it backwards?
Well, it's back to front because I needed a cream chest,
Got your label
so
hanging out.
that it was like that of the Redback Shrike. And unfortunately, this T-shirt, I'm not going to be able to show you actually, but on the other side, it's got a fox. So I couldn't wear it front on, so I had to turn it inside out and put it on back to front, and that's done the trick.
Well, very good. Many people guessing mine already. I've got to say, loads of people getting it right. Yeah, good stuff. Very good stuff indeed. And so many guesses coming in. White birds for Paul's quiz, obviously. Lots and lots of white birds, so I am enjoying that. I have to say as well that many people are talking about signing the petition, which is brilliant. Please do keep doing that. Email your MP. Honestly, it's such an easy form to fill out. When you click on that link, you're done within, I would say, 30 seconds. So brilliant. Keep those numbers going up. And Kelly Robinson has been on this morning to say good morning from Northern Ireland. And she has got buzzards, a family of buzzards in the field opposite her, which is just sensational. And I want to talk to you about buzzards this morning because Vanessa Thomas has sent in a clip from Facebook. Obviously, I'm going through your clips, your pictures, and she was woken up at 6:30 in the morning where her boat's moored. She got out onto the towpath and she got the best alarm call that she's ever had. See if we can hear a bit of that from Fabian. Lovely. So that is an alarm call from a buzzard. Not bad, would you say, for a morning wake-up call?
It's pretty good. That's a noise that we have been hearing a lot of here in the New Forest as well. Our buzzards have been very, very vocal too. It's this time of year, isn't it?
It's the young birds flying around. They still I think they're still begging for food from the parents. The parents have given up giving it to them, so they just whine louder and louder.
And they just seem to be circling our house in particular.
Yeah.
And making this call at all hours. They're very noisy right now.
Yeah, we threw the poodles into the garden a couple of times, but unfortunately just too big for a buzzard, I suppose, really.
Particularly when they've been bad,
They've been very bad.
Sid rearranged the rugs yesterday. He got chucked out for the buzzards.
Oh dear. It's all going on at yours. I tell you what, we get them here over Manchester as well. I live just outside Manchester and I did a bit of cloud gazing in my garden. And the further up I looked, I saw 3 buzzards. One quite big and then up again, just on those thermals. Absolutely wonderful. Right, Richard Moss has been in touch. He's been out with his camera and he says, look, Chris, Megs, this is a rubbish photo, but it's a good capture. It's in an apple tree. Have you any ideas what this is?
Yeah, we looked at this. What's distinctive there is the tail, that banded tail, and also a little bit of white on the bird's nape. This is a back view of a sparrowhawk. So it's either a young bird because of the brown colouring, or it's a female, difficult to discern in the photo, but there's no doubt at all that it's probably chased something into that bush, crashed into the bush, and or apple tree, did you say? And it's just resting there at the moment. But yeah, no doubt at all, sparrowhawk.
Well, brilliant photo. Lucky to have that in your garden. Quick shout out to Giles Walker. He's got my makeup right as well. Good man. Now, from the back of a sparrowhawk to the front of a sparrowhawk. This is a sparrowhawk bathing, and it's from Isabel Dearsley on Facebook. And she says it's been visiting her garden because she's just got out in her garden just a little tray of water. And I've been watching the Facebook page and our Twitter accounts, things like that. And many people are saying, Chris and Megs, that they're getting birds of prey into their gardens to drink water at the moment because it's been so hot. It's been quite interesting to see the number and range of our birds of prey that are coming really close into people's gardens.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that they don't typically drink very much, birds of prey, because obviously they're eating meat and a high percentage of that is water. But what they do is that I've noticed when I kept them, they always drink before they bathe. It's almost like they taste the water to see if it's clean enough for them to wash in. So they will come down, and it's then that they drink. And you can tell they're drinking because birds can't swallow like we can. They have to use gravity to swallow water. Yeah, so they put they tip their beak into the water, but then they have to tip their head up like that for it to literally slide down their throats. So you can see when they're drinking, and it is typical for them to drink before they bathe.
But it goes to show as well, it's really important, of course, to put those bowls of water out because since the thunderstorms hit. But it is really important to have those water sources, so please do make sure there's water in bowls.
Absolutely, they dry out quite quickly as well, so keep filling them up. On birds of prey, oh, and by the way, that last one that you saw there, Isabel, she does think it has a damaged wing, so a couple of you getting in touch, yes, she is aware of that. Now, red kites, let's have a look at some red kites, but I would say more than you've seen together for a little while. This is from Glenys Williams on Facebook again, and I just thought that you'd love to see this. This is an absolutely stunning cloud, really, of red kites. Look at that.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
It's amazing when you get to see them like this.
Look at that.
Oh, how many do you think there are? There's got to be at least 100.
Yeah,
150.
there's got to be 100 there. When you think how rare these birds were back in the 80s, you know, I've only ever seen black kites overseas in that sort of number. So that really is a testament to one of our greatest single species conservation endeavours, the reintroduction of red kite. What a sight. Blimey.
Amazing.
Never going to forget that, are you?
Absolutely. You really aren't. And it's great to see the things that come in because it gives us an insight as well. You know, I'm not in that part of the country, so it's wonderful to see that. Right, you two and everyone at home. Slow-mo insects. Yes, please. This is what I want from Self-Isolating Bird Club. If we're not talking about birds, let's do slow-mo insects. And this one's actually come in from Fabian Harrison, who is, of course, our producer. And this is a bee wolf predating. Now, I've got to say, I have never seen anything like this before. Now, he's been out onto the Norfolk coast, and it was just near a sandy bank. And he said it was absolutely full of bee wolves. This is just incredible. It's a large solitary wasp, and they prey, I think, on honeybee workers. And what they do is they paralyse them with a sting and then carry them back to the burrow. This is astonishing. Look, I mean, the weight, I don't understand the weight. How can something that small carry something that's almost as big as it?
Well, they're quite robust,
incredible.
those bee wolves. They're a chunky wasp. You know, they're really quite powerful. But as you say, they do bring those honeybees back complete, because what we typically see with, say, other predatory rather than parasitic wasps, things like, you know, common wasp and hornet, is that they will dismember their prey before they bring it back to the nest. They snip off the wings and they'll carry the head back, they'll go back for the body, and then they'll go back for the abdomen. But here, the bee wolf, because it's going to lay an egg on that to feed its larvae in the tunnel that it's putting it in underground, has to carry the animal back whole because it's alive. You know, it's just paralyzed, it's not dead. And they will stuff any number of bees down those burrows. And Fabian told me last night, something I didn't know, although I have seen bee wolves, is that sometimes those burrows can be up to 1 metre long under the ground, all stuffed with dead honeybees.
So cool.
Oh,
I love it.
I mean, it's glorious, isn't it? And then when you come into the world, you've got a fantastic meal right on hand. I mean, yes, that is the way to do it.
All right.
I know, just lovely. Then there was another clip that came in, and this one was from Discovering Nature, and I just watched to the end of this one because the little tagline underneath it was "Wait for it." Okay, now this is a slow-mo, and it is a dragonfly, and I really enjoyed the takeoff. I thought great, and then I got a close-up of this stump for a while, and I thought there's something coming. So keep watching, and the real genius of this is the way that nature crosses over with our human world as well. And to me, this look at that landing. It looks like a helicopter to me, just the lift off and then the set down again.
I love it. I love the way it comes in, then it puts its undercarriage, its legs down, pitches down, and then when it's sort of stopped its rotating and its wing muscles vibrating, it then just sort of sits like that. So it's already attached, but then it sort of goes, oh, like that. and then sits down into a fully resting position. So it lands and then it kind of just rests like that.
It is kind of like a helicopter, isn't it? It's like you put those, I don't know what they're called,
skids.
the skids. You know, they come down like back first, don't they? And then they sit and then the wings, and it just it's what you mean, helicopter, like a perfect bit of biological engineering that we've mastered.
Great observation.
Stunning clip. I've got to say, I did my own helicopter sound effects with it in my house, but I'm not going to do that now. Nobody needs that this morning. Final thing for you both, 2 questions. One is a video, and it's green woodpecker behaviour. This has come in from Discovering Nature. Sorry, the dragonfly was John Farnell. So this one's Discovering Nature. And any idea what these 2 green woodpeckers are doing? So is this a bit of defending territory? What's going on there?
Well, we do see this behaviour in green woodpeckers. I've seen it once myself, but the birds were such a long way away that I didn't really get a great view of it. But on Spring Watch over the years, we've had people sending in clips of what they appear to be like voguing. They do this posturing where one bird does this and then they go like this. And when they're on the ground, it really is like that. They move and in a very sort of robotic, mechanical way like this. We think that they are, there's two, it's both things. One, that they're communicating between a pair, and the other is that they can be seen communicating between members of the same sex. So there could be some sort of territorial behaviour going on. Maybe the one who, puts its bill the highest is the fitter male, who knows. But if you ever get the chance to see them doing this sort of like mad display like this, it is. I mean, again, I've only seen it once, and in my whole life. I mean, we see green woodpeckers quite commonly, but that's again a great observation.
Yeah, I think we're really lucky to have that clip because, as you say, you've only seen it once, and it is a wonderful little clip in there. I love that you described it as voguing. I'm forever going to think of it like that. Thank you very much indeed for capturing these things. It is wonderful to see. The last thing, though, that I'm going to mention is a question, and it's come in from Jennifer Upton on Facebook, and it's about magpie behaviour. Now, I know that both of you are fascinated by this. They're such clever birds. We see them working things out, working in different ways. Now, a magpie has come into Jennifer's garden and it seems to have an ongoing exchange between her and this magpie. So she'll leave out some seed and some suet, and when the bird has eaten it, it then places a little round stone on the saucer where the feed was. And this happens time and time again. Do we know anything about what's going on there?
It's fascinating. I think we know that they're super intelligent. We know that those type of birds have, some can problem solve, use tools. Corvids are incredibly intelligent. And this is a behaviour that has been observed before, isn't it? You went and met a scientist.
Yeah. It's something that has been seen before, where actually with carrion crows not with magpies, but they do this, and we know that they're birds that cache things. So they have a caching behaviour in the sense that they will store food. And hide that food. And obviously magpies and jackdaws are famed for taking shiny things to their nests as well. So their attention to detail with objects and their caching behaviour, perhaps this particular magpie has got a fascination with those stones, and perhaps it thinks that by putting them in the bowl where the food is, it's having some influence on the availability and maybe access to that food. We need to do some.
Do you think it could be? I'm just, maybe this is a bit too far, but it's almost kind of not an asking behaviour, but they're putting that stone down as some kind of form of currency.
We know that animals do use currency.
Yeah, because if it has a particular fascination with, it says here smooth round stones, not ever a sharp spiky one. If it's picking up that, and that means something to it. If it's placing it on the saucer, then it expects seeds in return.
Could be. We know that obviously macaques use all sorts of
capuchins
things.
Are known
for using currency.
Can use currency.
It's extraordinary. Well, look, we'll delve into it. If anyone out there has seen anything similar, then do let us know during the course of the week, and I'll try and get hold of that scientist that I had the conversation with about this. It was some time ago, but we never know. We might be able to find them.
That would be brilliant. Thank you very much. And obviously, for the magpie, that is paying off so far, and it's working for Jennifer as well because they've got a mutual relationship. So any more information on that would be brilliant. Big thank you to everybody commenting away on our streams this morning. He said I was a nuthatch. Bang on, people. That's what I am. I'm going to wear this for the rest of the day and see if anyone says anything, which both of you should do. Okay, Chris? You got to keep that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think you should nip out to the nearest store and safely distance yourself there and get yourself plenty of peanuts in that case. And you could be nibbling those all day long. I, on the other hand, am going to start tying foodstuffs onto the fence behind me as an exterior larder, as that of the redback shrike.
Yep, of course. And Megs is going to display away for the rest of the day. We're all sorted. It's all good.
You'll find me in Woodland.
I'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye, Lindsay. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Okay, well, before we move on, let's have a look at our total. We were asking if people could get anywhere near 40,000 for our signatures. I'm just looking here at the total on the website, and what it's displaying is 39,060.
That's a big lag on that website, Chris. So we've so we've hit 40,119.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
so
much.
so much for everyone who's gone and signed. Keep that going. Maybe we can get to 42,000 by the end.
Hold on, I don't like 42. I like a nice round figure. I like
How
a
about
50. I like a 50.
Yes, but that's another 10,000.
I know.
We get that. Maybe we'll get to 41,000 by the end.
Okay.
Come on, wildjustice.org.uk/SOS. Do that. Fill in the form. It's easy. Takes 2 seconds max.
That's amazing. 40,000. That's so good. Thank you so much for that. Keep it up throughout the course of the rest of the day, of course. Now, Luke Massey is a friend of the South Isolating Bird Club. He's been sending us films. As you know, he has a farmhouse in Spain. He's been out looking for pine martens, delivered those. Genet as well, of course. Some beautiful butterflies when we were doing Big Butterfly Count last week and before. He's also, for a long period of time, been making a film called Last Song of the Nightingale. Luke has a real passion for nightingales and obviously a concern for their extraordinary rapid decline. So here's a clip from Luke's film, Last Song of the Nightingale.
For a bird so revered, it may come as a surprise that the nightingale is now one of the UK's most endangered songbirds. Can literature, art, music, science and conservation come together to make sure we never hear the last song of the nightingale?
Absolutely beautifully put together, and I know Luke has been working really hard on this film for quite some time, isn't it? So we're all really looking forward to being able to see the whole thing. Now, a little bit more information about it. So this is a crowd-funded documentary that's been made by Luke and his partner Katie Stacey, and sound editing and recording by Nick Allen and the award-winning animator Will Rose's animations. So brilliant job, brilliant team effort there to put this together. And the documentary tells the tale, of course, of the nightingale, its cultural significance, migration, conservation and science of the bird. To mark the digital premiere of the film at this year's Bird Fair, the wing, as featured and created for the documentary, is now being auctioned. Yeah, so we've got a clip now. That was the trailer. Yeah. And so we've got a clip now. And in it, you'll see famous street artist ATM painting a nightingale onto the wing of a World War II bomber. And it will also explain the significance of that particular artwork. So have a look at this.
The nightingale's song is in itself art and has transcended that of other birds. It even made broadcasting history. In the spring of 1924, the first ever live-to-radio broadcast from an outdoor location was a duet between cellist Beatrice Harrison and a singing nightingale, recorded in her garden in Surrey. The broadcast was a sensation. 1 million people listened, and the programme was picked up as far afield as Italy, France, Spain and Hungary. Harrison received over 50,000 fan letters, and so the Nightingale live broadcast tradition was maintained as an annual event by the BBC. This was until May the 19th, 1942, when it was cut dramatically as it was going to air. Allied bombers were amassing overhead en route to Germany, and not wanting to warn the Germans of the impending raid, the sound engineers pulled the plug, but the recording remains to this day. London-based street artist ATM has a particular connection to birds. He uses his skills to celebrate the beauty of birds and communicate the extinction crisis, and his giant wildlife murals fill walls across the world. Last spring in Berkeley Square, ATM painted a nightingale on the tailplane of a Vickers Wellington bomber as part of his Lost Birds project, an ode to the 1942 BBC broadcast. ATM says, birds are often the most noticeable creatures to disappear. Their loss, the warning sign that something is fundamentally wrong in the way we treat our environment. They are the canary in the coal mine.
I love that.
It is beautiful, absolutely exquisite piece of art by ATM there.
Yeah, but on an old bomber's wing as well. Piece of
wing.
history.
It's absolutely
Great
amazing.
idea.
It's a fantastic idea.
Great idea.
So that wing and a few prints, 75 prints to be exact, are going to be auctioned virtually at the virtual bird fair, which is going to be taking place next weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
And all the profits from the sale of the wing will be split between ATM, who's the artist, and Sunbitten, who use the funds to produce their next conservation documentary. And conservation documentaries are, of course, very important at communicating issues, getting the stories told to a wider audience as well. So, it's really important that these documentaries have the funding so that they're able to be made and distributed widely.
Okay, where do they bid?
So, of course, basically, because it's one piece, there's 75 prints that are also up for sale as well, because once that wing goes, we don't know where it will go and where
I know where I'd
placed.
like it to go.
Yeah, I know, but pride of place on your windowsill.
It would be. Okay, where do people get the prints?
So the auction link that you can get for the actual wing itself is www.sunbittenmedia.com/the-auction. www.sunbittenmedia.com/the-auction. So you can find the wing, which will be up for auction there. You can purchase an A3 print of it though at www.bit.ly/Nightingale-A3. So it'd be an amazing thing to have.
Print would be amazing to have, to be quite honest with you. It's so beautiful. ATM, I love his work.
ATM
good.
does some beautiful stuff. All
Hen Harrier last weekend, of course, which we profiled at RSPB's Rainham Reserve there, but lots of other animals around London. Beautiful sparrowhawk, I remember seeing hedgehog, really good. All sorts of things that he's done.
But of course, the last song of the Nightingale, some gorgeous clips there from Luke and Katie. That trailer. I mean, I'm sure you're all on the edge of your seat, ready to watch the whole thing.
It's really good.
It's absolutely incredible, and you can watch the whole thing at Virtual Bird Fair next weekend. So that will be played for the first time, I think, publicly. Is that right?
I think it is.
First time publicly there. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be great, Bird Fair, because it's obviously this is normally
we're doing something for it.
We are. Well, I'm getting to that.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Sorry.
I'll get there.
I'll sniff Nancy because she's smelling good today.
Sometimes you just have to, let him do his thing. Anyway, okay. A bit intently. You're sniffing intently there.
Sorry, I got a bit carried away.
So, of course, you can join Bird Fair next weekend. Normally, it would be, a festival where we'd all come together. Yeah. And I absolutely love Bird Fair. Thousands of us gather to celebrate birds and wildlife in all of its glory. There's, books, there's art, there's talks, there's cheese, there's gin.
Cheese?
Yeah, there's always cheese for sale. Do you not get the cheese?
Well, don't eat cheese.
Well, I do. I get a bit of the cheese. But there's obviously so much, great conversations going on there. Now, of course, because of COVID-19, we're unable to gather like we normally do at Rutland Water. So it's going virtual, like many things have been. And it is all next weekend. There's going to be lots of events virtually that you can join in and see. And we are going to be doing an SIBC Bird Fair special.
So it's going to be sort of greatest hits of SIBC with an ornithological bent.
All the best bird bits.
So all of our highlights that we've got so far, plus some new stuff as well, of course, and you'll be able to watch that at Virtual Bird Fair next weekend. Top stuff. Okay, should we?
Right.
Go on.
Quiz
it's the quiz.
reveal.
Okay.
Quiz reveal. So let's have a little look.
So Paul Harfleet was gently referencing. Maybe we can see a picture of his gentle reference again. He's got the most fantastic white raincoat. Again, got raincoat envy. Got significant raincoat envy. There he is.
He looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's well cool.
He's so cool.
Okay.
Cool. Anyway, lots of people did get this one right. So well done, everyone. Facebook, we've got Bev, Jackie, Ali, Julia, Sally, Gillian, Claire, Nessa, Stella, Anne, Marie, Pam, Denise. Twitter, we've got Sue, John, Tracy, Libin, Michelle, Deborah and Ulla. YouTube, we've got Andrew, Simon, Mary and Diana. So well done to everybody got that right. And the answer is...
He was a mute swan.
A mute swan.
Mute swan.
Of course. What else?
There
Iconic
we are.
bird. Look at that draw. I love that drawing as well that he's done there.
Drawing's good. It's got that. He's got obviously the subtle referencing more than my own on his eye. On his
just drawn a
eyes.
massive black line.
Well, look, that's what stripes are like. Oh my goodness me, it's what they're like. You know. Okay, and also I'm not adept at these sorts of things.
No. Well, Paul is the master.
I'm not adept at these. Okay, birthdays.
Birthdays. Yes, we have quite a few birthdays today. So I'd like to firstly wish Isla Atkin a very, very happy birthday. You're 8 today, I believe. We hope you have a fantastic
Happy birthday,
day.
Isla.
So your mum got in contact with me yesterday. She shared a photo of you doing some litter picking, and you've also been really busy doing beach cleanings and learning about beetles and cetaceans. And we love that, don't you? You're
Fantastic.
already an environmental hero in the making. So keep going with all that fantastic work, and we both wish you a very happy birthday, Isla.
Okay.
So we also have Susanna Ainsley, birthday on Monday. So very happy birthday to you. You haven't missed one of our broadcasts. Goodness, that's quite a lot, isn't it? That's pretty good.
Isn't
Well
it? Pretty
done.
good. There's another one here though. Mandy Garrett for Sunday.
Yes, Mandy Garrett, happy birthday to you. We've got Maz Packinson, C. Forest Felt. Good morning from a very wet Wales. Can you say happy birthday to my husband and I for yesterday? We absolutely can. Very happy birthday to you, Maz, and to your husband too. We hope you had a good day yesterday. Mary Lappin, happy birthday to you also. And Anise Bridget, it's your birthday tomorrow. You will be 25 years old. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Enjoying watching the birds and learning lots by watching your broadcast, which is always a good start because she wants to study birds.
There we are.
And she always gets the quiz right,
Excellent.
I believe. Well done.
Top work.
Well done.
Before we go, just another little plug for something that's taking place this week. The World Land Trust are an exceptional charity based in the UK. They acquire land. They've got land in Belize. They've got some in South America. Their model is that they buy the land whilst it's still cheap. They engage local communities to make sure that it has a sustainable future for those communities. And of course, I've got poodle problems going on here. Excuse me. They protect that land. They are really well thought through model that they have and that they use. They've been going for some time, but of course, like so many other people, COVID has hit them quite hard. They've had to put some of their land acquisition on hold, which is a real shame because the more we get hold of, the more that we can protect. So this weekend, some of them are doing a virtual bike ride. Here we are. So it says the World Land Trust team are taking part in this year's Prudential My Ride London Free Cycle to raise funds for their wildfire appeal, which will provide our partners with the support they need to stop the flames before they take hold. You can find the details of that. It's on Virgin Giving /team/ WLT Ride the London team. That's quite a long link, but I'm sure that given your search engine you can find the details of that. If not, of course, on the World Land Trust website themselves. And the wildfire appeal here, it says last year we watched the world on fire, didn't we? Just California, Australia, terrible things.
The Arctic.
Yes, even the Arctic, Siberia. Every image of burning landscapes was horrifying. So this year we want your help to provide our partners with the support they need to stop the flames before they take hold. Habitats were devastated, species were pushed to the brink of extinction, and of course, lives were lost. The wildfire fire appeal aims to raise £250,000 to support those partners, and one of the ways that they're trying to do that is by virtually cycling this weekend. So try and find out the details of that. And then, I don't know what the total is at the moment, but if you can...
It is 40,492.
492. Wouldn't it be great if over the course of the weekend we could nudge that up and send yet more emails to our elected officials in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland as well, and that will be absolutely, and England of course, and each of those, so easy to do. Just go in, you put your postcode in, you hit thing, the letters there, goes off to your MP, lands in their inbox, and as Megan said, MPs are responding to that. It is generating awareness of these heinous crimes which are taking place in our countryside. So if you can share that link, if you've already signed it, with anyone that you happen to know, someone over the fence, just point out, ask them if they could just do that.
In the supermarket, just, let people know. Obviously wearing your mask, and social distance, but whoever you happen to come across, just point them in that direction. And of course the website is www. wildjustice.org.uk/SOS. And one more quick push for Paul Harfleet's illustration, which you can find on the Pansy Project website. Beautiful illustration that he's done of a hen harrier. All the money will be donated to Hen Harrier Conservation. And at the moment, there's 2 bids for £500. We need one of those to get above the other. So if you'd like to bid for that piece of beautiful art, then make sure you head to Pansy Project auction there.
Okay, that's about all we've got time for. We'll see next week. Oh, hold on.
We've got one more thing. Maya Brambrick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maya Brambrick is doing a sponsored wildlife walk for the RSPB.
We like Maya. She's really active on social media.
She does some great films on social.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the money for that is going to the Cameron Bespolka Trust. The Cameron Bespolka Trust are a trust which invests in young people, brings them together, gives them fantastic opportunities, often working in conjunction with the British Trust for Ornithology. When it's safe to do so, they go away together. They do things like bird ringing. It's an introduction to practical field science, which is really good. But also it's a team building and enthusiasm sharing thing that they do. And you can find out more details about the Cameron Bespolka Trust. And Maya Bambrick doing that this weekend.
You can support her wildlife walk over at www.uk.virginmoneygiving.com/Maya Brambrick. MYABAMBRICK. So please help and support her if you can. Congratulations, Maya.
It does seem, Megs, it does seem that this week we've been asking people to do a lot, and I think that I don't feel too bad about that, because over the last few months, nature has been giving us a lot. We've all gone into our gardens, looked at our window boxes, taken our walks, and we found that respite and solace in the simple things that live around us. But we know that so many of those things, like the golden eagles, like the animals that are being destroyed in those wildfires, basically are imperiled. And it's now time for us to step up for nature, because it was there for us when we needed it.
We've got to get on, get out, get up, and get on with it.
Yep, indeed we have.
As I wrote in the book yesterday.
Top work. Oh yeah, we're still on the book.
We're nearly there. Don't worry, we're nearly there.
Oh, the blistered fingers. It's only these two that are blistered.
Yeah, because you type like this.
But anyway,
it's quite entertaining.
We'll see you next week
at
9 o'clock. Until then, Prince Charming, nothing to be scared of.
Bye.
I'm going to wash it off.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to leave it to Harfleet.
I don't want to see that again.
He's the expert.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.